Alright, continuing on. Number 26. 26 is factorable. If you pull a 2 out, you'll get x squared minus 25. So 2x minus 5, x plus 5, which will give you positive and negative 5 for your values. Again, if you like to do it on the calculator, or if you like to do it the way I do in factor, or the quadratic formula, it doesn't matter. Whichever way you like the most. I'm going to do factoring because, well, I like it. I'm a factoring kind of guy. Plus 9. Oh, that's a 12. That's definitely a 12. And that's going to give me x minus 6, x minus 2. So you will have an x equals 6 and an x equals 2. And my last one, let's see if we can factor this. No, it's all positive. So this last one, you're going to take a look at, and what gives me a hint that it's going to be a no solution is the fact that you have a plus 6. The fact that everything's positive and I can't factor it. That's what really gives me the hint. But what's going to seal the deal for me, of course, I can use any method. And I'm going to go in and type this into the calculator. 3x squared plus 2x plus 6. And graph it. You'll notice nowhere close to the x-axis. So that's what lets me know for sure this is a no solution. It's not going to cross. So no solution. Alright, solve using quadratic formula. Gonna need to know the quadratic formula. Gonna have to be able to do some math, and I will show you where most people mess up. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Alright, that's gonna be what we've got. So here's a is 2, b is 5, c is negative 4, and again I'm pulling that right from here. You're always going to want your equation to be x squared, x, and then the number. Alright? Sometimes you're missing one or two of the terms. Most of the times you'll have all three. All we have to do at this point is put them in accurately. So I've got negative 5 plus or minus 5 squared minus 4 times a times c, so 4 times negative 4, 1632 over 2 times 2. That gives me negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 57 over 4. Can the square root of 57 be busted down? It's divisible by 3. Let's take a look. So I've got a 3 and a 9. That is not a 3 and a 9. It's 3 and a 29. So no. Nope. 3 and a 19. I apologize. Not doing well today. So, got 3 and a 19. Not going to bust down, so I'm going to leave it right here. Some of your teachers are going to require that you write it twice. I know I require my students that you write negative 5 plus the square root of 57 over 4 and negative 5 minus the square root of 57 over 4. And it helps emphasize to my students that you in fact have two answers with that plus minus. But again, it's going to depend on what your teacher is having you do. Looking at number 30, just taking it, plugging it straight in, my b, I've got negative b, so negative negative 2, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is going to be 4, minus 4 times a, so 4 times negative 3 is 12, times 3 is 36, and it's going to be positive because, you know, negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and from this point I'm just going to take and reduce. So I've got 2 plus or minus the square root of 40 over negative 6. Now this one's very special. Most of you will be able to stop here. A few of you are going to realize that I can break down the square root of 40. If I have the square root of 40, this is 4 times, or 2 times 20, which is 2 times 10. I've got a pair of 2's. I can pull those out. So I've got 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 10 over 6. These all have a factor of 2 in them, so I can pull it out. 1 plus or minus the square root of 10 over negative 6, and that's going to be my answer. Again, you break it out apart if you would like to, or if your instructor is asking you to. Onward to the next problem. We might have to two-part this page. It's a long page. We've got number 31. A is negative 4, B is 1, C is 1. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, so plus 16, over 2a. So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. You're going to get 1 plus or minus the square root of 17 over negative 8. That one cannot be reduced. It's ready to go. Again, if you need to, split it apart for your answer. Looking at number 32, notice we don't have a 0. We're going to need a 0, so I'm going to add that 3x to the other side. I've got x squared plus 3x minus 5. You'll notice I reordered the numbers. I shoved that 3x in between. so that my A, B, and C come from the same spot each time. A comes from the left, B comes from the middle, C comes from the right every time. I will make sure my equation stays that way. I've got negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Again, watch this number. This number is the most often missed number, that 4ac, because of all the negatives involved. This number is the second most missed number because it's a square. And a lot of you guys put it in your calculator. Small hint, alright? A lot of you put it in your calculator. Let's see, what was that? Let's all those three. Let's pretend it was a negative number. Let's say we have negative 8 squared. You're going to put it in your calculator and you go, well, Coach Murdoch, negative 8 squared is obviously negative 64 because that's what my calculator says. And I'm going to tell you, no, you didn't ask your calculator correctly. Negative 8 squared in your calculator looks like this. Negative 8 in parentheses squared. And it will give you the correct answer, positive 64. You need to remember your calculator operates on PEMDAS all the time. So it's going to square this 8 before it multiplies by negative 1 every time. So you need to make sure if you have a negative number and you're going to square it, you wrap that number up in parentheses or you will get the wrong answer and life will be terrible. So be very careful when you ask your calculator questions. You've got to understand how it's going to respond and what you need to ask it and what kind of order, all that kind of stuff. So we have 2 times 1 on the bottom. That's a 2. To finalize this answer, I've got negative 3 plus or minus square root of 29 over 2, and that's going to be it because 29 cannot be broken down any further. And we're going to cut the video here so we keep the audio paired with the video, and we'll make this 2 parts.